Hello and welcome to IGN Anime Club episode 39. Yay anime!
Yay anime!
I'm your host, Callie Plaguey, filling in for Miranda Sanchez, who can't be here. Joining me, as always, is Megan Sullivan.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Megan Sullivan. And we have special guests from Bandai Namco, Stephen Akana.
Dodos, yeah.
Oh, and David Lee.
Hello.
Welcome, you guys. So I want to start off, because you guys are here, with the special Naruto statues. We have an unboxing on IGN.com.
Yes.
Mako is in the middle. If you're not watching the video, there's some pretty sweet statues that you should want to check out.
So we've got Naruto
Sasuke.
and Sasuke.
And don't pay no mind to Mako. She's just there. Yeah. So you want to talk about the statues a little bit?
Sure. They're the Sume limited edition statues. Only 1,000 made, 500 here and 500 over in the Europes. Sorry.
The Europe?
Yeah, they're handcrafted, hand painted, like polymorph resin, etc. I don't know it all, but yeah, each of them is $300. They're available for pre-order right now in the Bandai Namco store, and they look great. They're, as you guys can see, like very detailed, magnetic parts. I won't touch it, but they're really good. So if you're a fan of Naruto or just a fan of really good statues, I highly recommend it.
It's one of those things with like statues where it's like you pick it up and you feel that weight in it, and you're just kind of like, ooh, value.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at Sasuke's ropes here, and they got like the phrase at the end and like the folds in the clothes. It's very detailed.
Yeah. So
Especially the face. I mean, like whenever I'm looking at statues, like I'm always like, I got to check the face first. And the face on both of them, it's like, it's really expressive, really well painted. So
in the IGN video, you guys talk about Sasuke's eyes, and you do like a pan over it, and you can really look at the details. They're fantastic.
Yes, if you want to see them up close, Miranda and Alana, our Toys and Culture editor, unboxed these and talked about them a little bit. So I'll link that in the podcast article, which you should always check out because it has a list of all the anime we talk about. But moving on, there's some big news related to my heart. Detective Pikachu.
Oh, okay.
So today, being Tuesday, because we record on Tuesdays, we got a trailer for Detective Pikachu 3DS game, which is coming to Japan next week. So I think it was February 3rd. And it's a little weird.
I concur.
Pikachu has an grizzled old man detective voice.
Did not picture that being his voice, but...
And he's all like CGI and...
Yeah. But he wears a funny hat.
But he wears a little hat, and
true.
I really hope they make it into a plushie.
Oh, yes.
So that is your weekly Pikachu news.
Yes, I can't imagine that they won't bring this to the West. They have to. I mean, it's Detective Pikachu.
Detective Pikachu. I just want the plush. That's all I want.
Yeah, the
I
rest
just want
of it
the
is
hat.
Just the hat.
Just a
Just
little baby
hat.
hat. Just like right here, you know.
Yeah, so if you haven't seen that, go ahead and check it out on IGN.com because it's interesting.
Yeah.
It is an experience.
I feel like they modeled Pikachu after a person because the way he moves and stuff, it's very odd.
Yeah, the model looks a lot like the Pokken Tournament Pikachu model. Because there's like one GIF where he looks like he's screaming.
Oh.
Yeah, so would recommend. That's on the IGN Twitter. It's probably going to be buried by the time you see this, but we have the GIF up there and then an article on IGN.
Yeah.
And possibly we'll be checking out the trailer in depth. So that's your little side note Pikachu news. But yeah, moving on, because you guys are here, I'm so excited to have you. Thank you for coming back. If you haven't seen, we did a Jump Festa episode with Bandai Namco before winter break, so back in the end of 2015,
like end of December, I think.
with kind of news on upcoming games. But there's some super upcoming games that you guys want to talk about a little bit, some really close release dates.
Yes, around the corner.
Yes. So the first one being Digimon.
Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth is coming out on the 2nd, PlayStation 4 and Vita.
Yay, a reason to use your Vita.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I haven't had a chance to play on the Vita yet, but I'm like 26 hours in on the PS4, and I've been really enjoying it. It's a lot of nostalgia, a lot of hatching. It's a lot of fun.
Is it crossplay?
I don't believe it's cross-play, but there's cross-save.
All right, cool.
So
nice.
once I get the Vita version, it's all on the Vita.
Nice. And then the next release date is which one? Project?
It's actually Naruto.
Naruto's
Naruto
next
shipping
on
in Ultimate Ninja Storm 4,
Ultimate
which is on the
Ninja
9th.
Storm 4 on the 9th.
And it's it's more Naruto. It expands story from pretty much until the end of the war, and I think 100 plus characters.
Is that all?
Yeah.
Just 100
Yeah.
or so.
Yeah, and so we got to see a little bit of Ultimate Ninja Storm 4, and it's really pretty. It's really gorgeous. We'll have a gameplay clip up on IGN, and we'll also link to that.
Yes.
We did Rock Lee versus Gaara feelings.
And we dragged Vincent Nito into it because he's the ultimate person when it comes to fighting games.
Ultimate Ninja Storm person.
I don't know. I didn't do too bad at the end.
Oh no.
But yeah, the fight did not take 3 episodes this time.
It's a little faster.
Hey. So it's really coming along really nicely, and I liked just how the characters kind of looked, their models looked, and their fight styles, and every like finishing move is super cool.
Oh yes.
So definitely check out that gameplay clip. Anything else you guys want to touch on with that?
I mean, CyberConnect just continues to really impress me, and like how like when the first one came out on PlayStation 3, like I was like, this is like next level like anime fighting games. Like, you know, it looks like I'm watching the anime itself.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know, when it goes to PS4, I'm hard pressed to see like what else they can do to make this game look better. And I mean, it's really a leap forward in like, you know, how much particles are on screen, like the vibrant colors, the movement of all the characters, and especially like all the extra features that they've added, like being able to swap between each of your 3 players rather than just having like one lead. It really adds a new dynamic to the fighting experience that's Ninja Storm.
I like that. It did add a dynamic, and it also made things a lot more interesting.
Yeah, and as Steve was saying before, especially in story mode, you're going to see during those kind of QTE battles, you're going to see so many particles. It's mind-blowing. You can take a screenshot and stare at it for days. It's really good.
Yeah, the animation is great. It's over the top completely, which is exactly what you want in a Naruto game. So
exactly, yeah.
perfect.
And then we also got to see Sword Art Online Hollow Realization. I'm going to let Megan talk about that because Megan knows quite a bit about Sword Art Online.
I do know quite a bit about Sword Art Online. The first thing I want to say is how pretty the game looks.
Oh, yes.
Like, I was very impressed with the graphics and the scope of the game.
It definitely has a, like you said earlier, a Xenoblade kind of feel when you kind of scale back and see the landscape. It looks really nice.
Yeah, and it definitely seems to echo some MMO-esque things, which is perfect because, hey, it's
It's
Sword Art Online. Hey! So, yeah, I wanted you to talk a little bit about the gameplay and also the story, sort of how it's incorporated into the original Sword Art Online story, because you mentioned something I think is very interesting about that it's its own, sort of its own separate story. It's its own original story. So if you could talk a little bit about that, that would be cool.
Sure. So essentially, to kind of go back on that, you said the graphics, I can agree. It's actually the first game that was built on the PS4, so hence it looking a lot better.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Not to say the other games didn't look bad. No, they all look fantastic.
Yeah, but when it's something's native to, a
yeah,
console, it makes a huge difference.
So yeah, essentially, Kirito is pulled back into the world of, I'm going to butcher the name, Steven, if you could help me. Ironcard, thank you. He's pulled back into the world. We were not sure why. You see a mysterious girl kind of, I guess, possibly pulling the strings, and from there you kind of pushed on your journey. So we're just kind of figuring out why he's come back to this world, who is this girl, and essentially go from there. You do see old characters like Asuma and the other ones that we showed. I don't want to butcher those names. But yeah, and then it has that very fluid kind of gameplay as we showed before, where you can be put into this world, you can find monsters, there's just quests you can pick up on the map. Usually, at least with this build that we had, at the very end of it, you fight this giant boss. You can see who's targeting. It has multiple health meters, and it just you can chain combos, and as I showed you, and it's just I feel a lot more fluid, and it's kind of it's just fun to play.
And I noticed that you can swap characters in and out too. So you hit a button and Kirito will drop back, and one of the characters will jump in, do their combo, and then you swap back in.
Yeah, you can dash back in, continue your combo. You can encourage your teammates, they can encourage you. You can focus on healing, like, if you happen to stun a monster, at that point you can direct everyone to essentially just full on attack this person. So there's a lot of customization, and I'm sure there's more to come as we get more news.
Yeah, one of the things you said when we were checking out the game earlier is that you can rely on your teammates more, and I liked that aspect. That's one of the things that anime does a lot, is like nakama and team. So I like that the gameplay kind of reflects that. So
yeah, so I'm looking forward to seeing what other characters come about. I have my favorites. Klein. Cough, cough.
I thought you were literally coughing. I was like, Megan's dying.
It's all in the acting.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah. So looking forward to more news about that. And what else do we have?
We saw One Piece Burning Blood. Yay,
Yes,
One
we did.
Piece!
Yeah. Frankie.
Yay, One Piece. So, yeah, Steven, I'll let you kind of lead on that one because you got to show off some super cool gameplay with that.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, One Piece Burning Blood's coming along really, really well. Like, I mean, you guys saw, like, the color palette for it, like, the destructible environments, like, how kind of larger than life all the moves were for all of the different characters.
Which is so appropriate for One Piece. Like,
Super
that is what
appropriate.
One Piece is about.
And then also, like I was saying before, the dialogue between the characters, like, where the characters that you select are going to... when they have their meetup text or their meetup vocals to each other, they're going to actually interact with each other. So there's a lot of work that we put into to make sure that, you know, this game really emotes that feeling that, you know, fans of One Piece really have, where it's like, you know, you're so attached to these characters after a series has been going on for so long. So, you know, it's kind of a really great opportunity for us to be able to kind of take this world and then really kind of cater it to the fan base.
Yeah, it definitely seems like it has a lot of good fan service in it, and I noticed like all the animations. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
not that the other games didn't do this, but you can definitely tell like the way Zoro holds the sword in his mouth, and other characters, like the way they walk and the way they fight.
We got
is
so into it,
very-
we were like, don't hurt Zoro!
yeah, don't hurt his pretty face.
Don't ruin his face. He's so wonderful. Yeah, and I again going back to Nakama, that's another big thing in One Piece is the interaction between characters changing depending on what your team is really, really smart. And so I like that integration. And it's One Piece. One Piece. Really, really big animations, definitely larger than life. I'm looking forward to it.
Yes.
So scaling back or winding back a little bit, it is a 3-on-3 fighting game style thing. In case you were wondering, because there's been like One Piece Muso games and stuff like that. So yeah, it looks like it's coming along super nicely.
And I think like one of the really cool things is that, you know, it's that real time being able to activate your devil fruit abilities or your hockey, and how you have to kind of watch the other character to see what they're doing, and if they're actually powering up their devil fruit, then if you want to be attacking them, you need to actually activate your hockey as well. So it's using those concepts from the series in the actual game itself. So you're kind of actualizing those moves on your own side.
Right, it adds a dimension of strategy to it.
Yep.
And then did you say what arcs does it go through?
We haven't discussed exactly the story yet,
okay.
but there is a really great story that goes along with it too.
Is it original? Can you say?
It's not an original story. It
Okay,
actually
so
follows. It follows part of the true story. There's a couple hints that we've actually dropped based on like some of the things that we've released, but I'll leave it to the fans to.
Yeah, I don't
look
want
into
to.
that.
Don't want to
Okay.
spoil anything.
wanna spoil,
I'm
but-
asking because for One Piece, since there's so many episodes, I kind of like playing One Piece games and getting the highlights because it's a refresher for episodes I have watched way
So
back
long ago, yeah.
when, and it also helps me kind of catch up when I don't have time to catch up on the actual episodes. So that's why I was curious. And
What's the latest episode? What number are we now on?
we're in the
One
deep
Piece.
700s.
Yes, I watched like 752 maybe.
Yeah, we're really getting up there. Oh, One Piece.
Nowhere close to done either. So.
Yeah,
Yeah.
One Piece. One Piece is eternal. So yeah, that's why I was asking, and I'm sure people will be excited to see kind of where that story is going. Yeah. Anything else you guys want to talk about?
We actually today we just released the demo for Project Cross Zone 2 on Nintendo 3DS eShop. It's really cool because I have very little time to actually play a lot of video games just because work is super busy.
Yeah.
But so when it comes to demos, I'm usually like, I'll just wait until play the full game. I don't want to do a bunch of progress on this and then have it feel like it was for naught. But the demo, you can actually go through every time you beat it for up to 10 times. You're going to earn different items that you can actually use in the full game. So, for people that played the first game and they were just like, oh, the game was a little bit, the battles were really long and I want to make sure that, what I'm getting into is kind of a little bit more clear and concise. This demo will actually kind of wash away a lot of those maybe worries on that side. It's really... there's so many changes that have gone into Project Cross Zone 2 that you really need to play the demo to experience how rather than like you do a move, enemy does a move, you do a move, enemy does a move, it's in rounds. So you get to move all of your pieces at the same time, which is a little bit more familiar for people who play a lot of tactical strategy RPGs. But yeah, so definitely check out the demo on the eShop.
Exciting.
And then the full game comes out on February 16th.
February 16th.
February
So
16th.
there's a lot of upcoming stuff, and then some of the others we don't have release dates yet for yet. Typo IRL. Yeah, let us know which of these games you're most looking forward to, what you want to see next in the comments on Twitter, anywhere, #IGNIME, or email us at IGN_Anime Club@IGN.com, or you can join the Facebook group. Yay, David, on the Facebook group.
Yes.
At
Yay.
facebook.com/groups/IGN Anime Club, and it's the official group. All right, I got it right. All right, so it's now 2016.
Oh, yes.
David's like, nah,
It's
no.
official. Happy New Year.
Yeah, no, what are you talking about? It is 2016. Where's the time going? But we haven't talked too much about our favorite anime of 2015. We'll have a best of list going up sometime this week, pretty soon. We're working on it really hard, making sure we watch all the shows for you guys. But there's a difference between best and favorite.
Yes.
And sometimes those things overlap and sometimes they don't. So we just want to take this time to highlight, just our personal favorites. So I think one that a lot of us share, and Miranda also has this on her list if you're wondering, is Food Wars.
Yeah.
Yay, Food Wars. So, Food Wars is so good. It's so good. So we talked about it a lot on this show about how it does ecchi really well. It's one of my top ecchi anime. I got my mom into it.
Oh, wow.
That's a big
Her
deal,
mom
you
is
guys.
awesome, by the way.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, that's impressive.
So I think what Food Wars does particularly well is it takes the shonen genre and puts a twist on it so it seems fresh, because it's all like, how a lot of shonen is like, I'm gonna be the best, and then when are you gonna be the best? But I like that it applies that to like not actiony stuff. It's you get to see someone demonstrating their skill, but it's done in that shonen style where it's like, we're fighting. And so I just thought that all came together really well. So I was wondering what you all thought.
I loved it. I mean, it was like super over the top, like especially like first episode all the way to the very
so
end.
good.
I was actually really sad when it finally finished, because I was just like, I need more of this, like this tournament of food cooking. But I mean, it's that cool thing where it's like you have all these different genres within that kind of like shonen house that can be sports, it could be card games, it could be fighting, or it could be cooking and food, and how it has similar aspects throughout all of them, where it's like, you have your hero learning new skills, bringing in more of their nakama and stuff like that. Yeah. But there was something that was really cool about Food Wars, where the main character was not necessarily too OP. Like, I mean, he was very strong and confident from the beginning, but then he has his dad that's always there to be like, there's someone that you're trying to be better than.
Yeah.
And then you have like the I guess they were the teachers from the
yeah.
school.
Yeah.
So it's like there's definitely people where it's like, you don't know how he's going to battle against his classmates, but then like when he did that one battle against that one teacher, I mean, there is a lot of moments where he shows those kind of signs of weakness and kind of relatability, rather than someone who's just like kind of like barreling through the whole time. So I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, I think that's really important, because his main weakness is overconfidence. Yeah. He goes into things, he's like, I can totally win. And so for the egg, not really Shokugeki, but the egg challenge that they do at the camp in the hotel resort place, he doesn't understand like buffet style, and that is his pitfall, and his strength then is figuring out, how am I going to solve this in as little time possible. But his main weakness is like, he doesn't know the same things that his classmates know. And I thought that was really interesting. Like, how does he overcome his almost ignorance of like the high culinary world? I love Food Wars, and we've talked about this before, but the ecchi is done super well. Like, it's pretty much everybody, which
Yes.
Some people can seem gratuitous, but to me, I'm like, everybody's loving their food.
And all the guys are super buff on the show. So
Yeah.
the women are busty and beautiful, but at least there's something for the ladies too, where the guys, their clothes fly off and you're like, dang, dude,
Or
you could
anybody-
bounce a quarter off those
anybody
abs
who's
and
into
stick to the
dudes.
ceiling.
Yeah.
It's like the first episode with the bodyguards. It's just like all of them have like 8-packs.
Eight
Yeah.
packs.
Yeah,
You're just
they're
like, yes.
Yeah. So it's fun for everyone is what I'm saying.
It's a great example of like good shonen tropes, nakama, ecchi,
Beautiful
has
animation.
everything.
Oh,
It
yeah.
is really that
Oh, the
food.
food.
That
Oh my
food.
gosh.
So good.
Yeah, we
That
haven't
food.
even talked about the food yet.
I'd even
Yeah.
eat like the deflated souffle. Like,
Just give it to
I
me.
would eat his messed up egg souffle 100%. It probably tastes great. I would eat that thing where he pours like the fat over the eggs or whatever. I forget what it's called. It's something that I've never actually eaten in real life. That's the other thing is I watch this, I'm like, I don't even know what that would taste like. I've never had anything that fancy.
Didn't Miranda say that these are based on real recipes that you can actually do yourself? In fact, this is one of the anime that I suggested, shameless plug, for my 11 anime that will make you smarter feature up on IGN. For home ec, I said Food Wars because it's delicious looking, amazing, and you can actually make some of these recipes, which is really cool. So it's
Yeah.
educational.
Yeah.
Your edgy is educational. Proof.
I've seen a lot of
Educational.
YouTube videos that show like how to make these foods too.
Yeah.
Hopefully one day I'll try to do that.
Yeah.
It's very reminiscent of Yakitate Japan, if you guys watched that series. It was a series about like baking, and it was at the end of every episode they had like a little cooking segment where they would like show you how to cook what was ever shown inside of that episode.
That's
So
awesome.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love cooking shows anyway. I'm always watching Food Network, Chopped, all that stuff. So when anime and food come together, I'm so happy. Which we'll get to later because one of my favorite anime happens to be Wakakozake.
Oh, Megway.
Megway!
Yeah, so
But I don't want to jump the gun too much because we're still talking about Food Wars and how delicious everything looks.
Yeah, so if you also liked Food Wars, which I hope you did, if you haven't watched it, check it out and let us know what you think. But yeah, so we can transition right into Wakakozake, I think, because
Yes.
have you seen Wakakozake?
I actually
have not.
haven't.
Okay, so let's give them a lowdown. So it's a short. So every episode's probably 3 minutes.
And
wow.
like 1.5 is just the intro. So it's,
it's
really short, concise, and sweet.
yeah, and it's about an office lady who just goes out to eat by
Oh,
herself.
I did watch that series.
Yeah.
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 It's
and there's
really
a,
cute.
There's a second season that's live action and full length.
Oh really?
That I haven't had a chance to watch yet, but I heard it's interesting.
It's very interesting. They somehow managed to take 2 or 3 of the Wakakozake stories and make them into one episode, and it's actually well paced. I wasn't sure how that was going to translate, but the food looks so amazing. Like I want to go to those places and eat that food.
And also how engaged she is with the food. Like, there's those moments where she's talking about the beer and she's eating her food, and like anything around her, she just doesn't really notice it. It's just kind of like, no, I'm in this world. food
Yeah.
world.
Yeah, and she gets really detailed. It's like the crunchiness of the panko, and then the delicious moistness of the shrimp inside, and then this, pshoo. Every time she's super happy and satisfied with food, she goes pshoo. It's so amazing, and that girl knows how to slam a beer. I find her to be my spirit animal because I'm like, you go, girl. She'll drink like sake and beer, and she's by herself, so it gives you the courage to go out and have a meal by yourself. There's nothing wrong with that, and that's huge in Japan where everything is a group. It's a little strange as a woman to go out by yourself like that. And so it's like, hey, don't be afraid to just walk into one of these little stalls and enjoy yourself.
I need to add that to my list.
Yeah, Wakakozake. And it takes you maybe 20, 30 minutes to get through the entire season when you watch
Which
the
is
anime.
fantastic,
So
yeah.
Yeah. We watched it week by week, so it was like every week I was like, yay, karage this week.
yeah, it was a gem.
Yeah. Speaking of spirit animals, though, a couple of us have Himoto Umaru-chan
Yes.
on here. I think Megan and David
Yes.
both. I loved Umaru. It's not on my list because there were lots of good anime this year, but I do want to take a moment to talk about it because that girl is the trash monster inside of us all.
Yes, yes, she
It's one of our
is.
catchphrases here at Anime
Yes,
Club.
I wear my Umaru hoodie every night. This is true. I do
wow.
because it's cold in our house, and so I have my Umaru hoodie that I put on, and it's so nice.
Yeah. If you haven't seen our Halloween episode, we all dressed up as
Umaru.
Umaru.
I danced on the table and then fell off. It was
It
great.
was really good. So, what's Umaru about?
So Umaru is about on the outside, it's this perfect high school girl. She gets good grades. She's popular. She's pretty. She's athletic. She's everything you could possibly imagine as like the perfect Japanese high school student. Then she goes home and turns into a trash monster. She gets into this, like, she shrinks down to this little chibi form. She throws temper tantrums like a 5-year-old. All she wants to do is play video games, drink cola, eat chips and
Like
junk
junk
food
food,
all
yeah.
day, and make her brother do everything for her. She's the ultimate slob.
She's
But no
such a
one knows
brat.
this. She's such an obnoxious brat, but she keeps this secret very well. Even her friends don't know. Like, if they come over and she's in her chibi form, they think that she's somebody else.
Like the little sister.
Like a
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
sister.
It's really so. This is a comedy. Like it's told in sort of vignettes. And at first, I really hated her,
Same.
and I was like, I don't know if
Yeah,
I can
I
keep
did
watching
too.
this show. And then I like gave it another try, and it really grew on me.
Yeah.
And it's just super cute.
I
But,
realized that
she's-
I hated her so much at first because she's me. I was
You were
too
like,
close
you're
to home.
Oh.
You're everything that's bad about me.
Yeah,
Like,
like, you don't want someone to hold up a mirror and be like, this is how you behave.
yeah.
But yeah, she's so adorable, and I mean, who doesn't want to just stay home and play on their Vita and watch anime? She's a big anime,
Yeah.
and she's a fighting game girl.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
So
she,
she'll-
she would 100% be playing One Piece Burning Blood.
Yes, she would.
Yeah, 'cause she always has her brother buy her Jumpu, which is definitely Shonen Jump, let's be real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
She does.
I realized that too. It's like one of the episodes, like episode 4, where you dive into Sylphine, who I absolutely adore. Sylphine's the best.
She's
Yeah.
she's
Oh.
amazing.
We
I
call
have a
her-
little figurine of her.
We call her blue-haired Sephiroth because we couldn't pronounce her name for a while.
really?
Yeah.
We were like, it sounds like Sephiroth.
And
But
she does
anyway,
kinda terrorize,
So when you
so.
get to know her a little bit.
Yeah. You go to this when she goes into that like essentially like that Sega arcade machine place. It's called Gapcom. You
Yeah.
can see what they're making fun of. I was like, oh,
Gapcom,
that's funny.
yeah.
That's right.
Yeah,
So I
there's
noticed that.
yeah, that's a good point. Is there's a lot of anime references in.
Yeah.
There's one episode that has Professor Layton, or no, Phoenix Wright. It's Phoenix Wright and Danganronpa like in quick
Oh.
succession, and then Madoka is also in that episode.
Really?
It's
Yeah.
out of control.
There's all sorts of wonderful Easter eggs, like
Yeah.
all sorts of like clever references to different anime
Yeah.
or video games.
Yeah, from like the more obvious ones like Gapcom, and then there was like Homura from Puella Magi, Madoka Magica with just a fish on her head.
Yeah.
And I was like, why is Homura in my why what?
Because they
Um,
can.
Because why not?
Yeah, because they can. I love that. Also, I just like that there's that one episode where she's got the system down when she's in the bathtub and she's figured out she can play her game.
Oh,
While it's
yes.
loading, she can flip a manga page.
Yes.
And there was one thing where she was like watching anime or something at the same time, like doing 3 things at the same. Oh no, she was eating potato chips. Like she had this down to a science. And I was like, I've got to try that, and I did, and it worked.
Oh, really? Wow.
Well, I wouldn't recommend it because I probably was gonna drop my Vita in the
Yeah.
bathtub. But I actually tried it where I actually had like a manga or a magazine, and I was like flipping pages while it was loading, and then I'd take a bite of a chip, and then I actually had, I don't know, it was like diet soda instead of regular soda, but
That's
it was
impressive.
amazing.
Yeah.
See, I learned things. Another educational anime.
Yeah. Switching gears completely, I want to talk about One Punch Man.
Yeah.
Which goes a little bit back to the whole OP thing we were talking
Yeah.
about with Food Wars Shokugeki no Soma. I love One Punch Man
It's
so
so good.
much.
So
It's in my top 3 favorites of 2015.
Yep.
For sure.
Mine too.
But the weird thing is, I actually didn't like it at first. I don't think it clicked with me right away. Like, I watched the first episode, I was kind of not in a good mood, and I was like, whatever, this isn't for me or whatever. And then I watched it with my cousin who was super excited about it, and that's when it clicked. I was like, oh, I super get the humor now, and I just continued to love it more and more from there. Yeah, so David, it's on your list as well. What did you think?
Even though it's that whole premise that he kills everything in one punch, and like that's how almost every episode goes. It's still, it's like enjoyable. Like his character, his attitude, and Geno's obviously like.
He's so great.
But it just like all those like everything works together. It feels just the main character, like the One Punch Man, just doing his thing. I don't think it would work, but having all those other characters, and I forget the name of the ninja.
He's like Sonic.
Like, oh, it's like
something
Sonic
like
Speed or something.
Sonic
but
Speed. Yeah, it's like some weird name.
Yeah, just like his overconfidence and just how he feels. It meshes perfectly together. And
I like Moomin Rider.
I do too.
Oh, yeah, moving right.
Like I just like the underdog so much. He tries so hard.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the cool thing about, or not. That's the cool thing about One Punch. A cool thing about One Punch Man is it came from a webcomic, turned into a manga, and then into the anime. And the webcomic is basically making fun of shonen anime in a positive sort of way. Like, what happens when you become the best? You're all trying to be the best. What if you are so powerful you can kill everything in one punch? And Saitama is so bored. He's so bored, and it's hilarious. And I really love the animation, and Genos is my husbando.
Yeah.
I love Genos. I love androids. They're so good. There's a really cool thing with the Hero Association
like
that made me laugh really
class
hard
B.
is like Saitama's super powerful, but he doesn't really have a lot going on with the strategy of being a
much.
hero. So he like just fails his essay like horribly, and I don't know. I thought that was a nice touch because it's like even though you're the most powerful man in the world, you're still not.
You're like in
Yeah,
class
you're not
C.
officially-
You're not class
You're not
A.
officially. You're only class C. You're not rank S.
Yeah.
And
I just
I
like
don't know. There's little touches. that I
Saitama
like.
is so blasé about everything. Like there's some tragedy going on in the city. He's like picking his nose.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't know who that is. Who are
like-
you? What's going on?
You're like, I'm missing the grocery store sale. No.
Yeah, he flips out so hard in one
Yeah,
episode
yeah,
because he's like, I only have so many hours to get this
so
sale, and you're in my way. And then he's like, oh my god, I missed it.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things is definitely like when they reveal the workout or like his workout.
Oh yeah.
And it's like the 10 miles running. It's like 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 100 crunches, I think. Or no. I think
Pull-ups or something?
oh no, it's squats.
Squats.
Yeah.
It's squats.
Squats on squats on squats.
So it's like, I want to believe
Oh.
that's the actual workout, but
Yeah.
you like there's obviously that mystery of what could maybe you got some radioactive this
Yeah,
or
what-
I like when the other characters are like, that's all. That's it. That's
Yeah,
all
yeah,
you
yeah,
do.
yeah, yeah.
You're lying. No way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
There's no way you just do 100 of each of those, like one set, and then there's actually in our Facebook group, there's someone for a while who was doing like the One Punch Man workout, like day by day
Yeah.
log. I don't know if you're still doing that, but if you are, I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
Don't punch me. I don't think I could do 100 squats.
No, it's like that's no.
Yeah.
it's tough.
Yeah,
So-
it's not the kind of workout that you can sneer at.
Yeah,
It's just,
Oh, yeah.
you know, I don't know if it's enough to kill someone with one punch.
yeah, it's
But-
like, oh, okay.
I want to believe though. I want
Yeah.
to believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also really want to. I can't. Talking is so hard, you guys. Just typoing everywhere. I want to talk about the intro to One Punch Man
I love the
because
intro so much.
I really love that song, and I like that you can see him in front of the like. You know, the danger rankings are like Tiger, and then the top one is like
Dragon.
Dragon. Yeah, Dragon is one of them.
It's like Dragon and then God, I think.
Yeah, and you can see it like in the intro, he's standing in front of each one of those, and he progressively gets smaller and they get bigger. But the cool like visual component to that is, you know, he's gonna face them all no matter what. He's really determined, and I like the intro a lot. I think it does a really good job of highlighting his character, and he'll be really dorky, and then he'll get that like hardcore face on.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that they visually represent whether or not the audience should be worried about what's going on or how seriously they should take it, because
Yeah.
if he's just kind of goofing off, he has those little wedge eyes and he
right.
looks adorable.
Yeah,
but then
yeah.
when he's like, all right, now I got to bring my A game, he gets super intense.
Yeah, and the shadows go over the eyes.
Yeah, his like face contours.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
Yeah.
literally contours.
Yeah.
And you're like, all right,
He
now
knows how
things
to
get
do
real.
That highlighting and contouring a la Kim Kardashian.
That's right.
Yeah, that's his face is a.
There was an
good tell.
internet meme about that where it's just like, this is girls before they contour and this is them afterwards. And it was just the two pictures of Saitama side by side. It was really funny. Yeah.
To kind of quickly go back, so the intro for One Piece Man is great, but what really got me into Food Wars really quick is the outro for Food Wars, like the first season. It's like the
Spice.
best thing ever.
Yeah.
It's my ringtone.
That's
So,
I love that song. Yeah, that's I like a strong intro outro. It can kind of make or break a show. And for One Punch Man, it really got me into it. It's like a hype song.
yeah.
Like hero. Yes. I always when I start singing it to myself, it always sounds like the tune of Trogdor. Like I always start it like Trogdor. I'm like One Punch, and I don't know why I do that. But yeah, so it's one of those things where everything came together really nicely in a really good package. Steven, do you have any thoughts on One Punch Man?
I mean, it was really it's another one of those series that's kind of like for anime fans. Like, you know, you get a lot of these jokes because you've watched like different like, you know, hero anime or even like the Giant Suit like kind of live action action shows from Japan. So being able to see these like really silly monsters and like what their origin story is, like it reminded me a lot of this offshoot series from Tenchi Muyo that was called Magical Project S, where they did that kind of around mocking the Sailor Moon series. So it would be like, you know, Cheesecake Girl who's spitting out cheesecake everywhere and she just says cheesecake, cheesecake, I'm a cheesecake.
Can I direct? I'm so sorry. So Sailor Moon, I know you guys love Sailor Moon, but
Yes, but
I feel very neutral about Sailor Moon. I only watched one episode and barely watched that episode, and I'm sorry.
wait a second, that's not enough to get an
Yeah, okay.
opinion of something that's like 5 seasons long.
True.
But
But this
anyway.
was back like in the 90s, so like I don't know, it was like 7 or 8, and this like Dragon Ball Z was a huge thing, you know, just watching my cartoons, and I happened to drop on Sailor Moon, and it was Sailor Moon being tied up by a shoe monster, and I just, being a kid, I thought this is really silly, and I just skipped that channel. So I never.
I think I remember that episode too.
You know, it's just like this is like, and I watched for like maybe a minute or two. It's like this doesn't make any sense, and this is like Dragon Ball Z so much better. Granted, you know, I was a kid then, but I'm sure I'll give Sailor Moon another try. But just the cheesecake monster, a shoe monster, it's like not far apart.
But that's the brilliance of One Punch Man bringing it back around. Like the first episode, it's like making fun of Dragon Ball Z character. Like the enemy looks just like, I forget the character's name, I'm blanking. But and then there's one where like an enemy he's wearing
Brawling,
briefs and he has like a car head or so, like car engine head or something.
It's
Making fun of all that shonen stuff plus the goofy live action.
Yeah, I think
monsters.
that's the really good point of it being for anime fans. It would be hard to get into if you haven't at least seen a little bit of stuff like that, so you can
It might
understand.
seem a little bit too over the top. If
Yeah.
if you're just like, oh, this is the first anime I'm going to watch One Punch Man.
Yeah,
You're like,
no,
he's like,
is
no,
this
no.
what all of
Yeah.
it's
It's
like?
too tongue-in-cheek.
It's not a starter anime. It's definitely for people to be like, oh yeah, that totally looks like a Dragon Ball monster. And it's funny because normally it's like 4 episodes of fighting, and this one's just like, that's probably my favorite part of One Punch Man is what in any other anime would take like 3 episodes to finish. It's done in one punch.
Yeah.
Awesome. So let us know what you think of One Punch Man. We have a lot of fan art in the Facebook group, which again is facebook.com/groups/IGN Anime Club. It's the official group. Please join. We love the Facebook group.
Yeah, our Facebook group is awesome.
Yeah. So let us know what you think of One Punch Man. And there's a couple final like wrap up ones. Megan, you have School Live on there.
I do have School Live on there. The reason why I like this one so much is it subverts all your expectations of the moe trope. It's not the first anime, obviously, to do that, but it starts out where you have this intolerable character named Yuki, and she's cute and she's sweet, and it opens up with her gushing about how much she loves her school and her teachers and her classmates, and everything in her world is perfect. And it's building up to something. There are little tiny hints that something's not quite right. You're on the rooftop and you see what looks like a cross. She's chasing this adorable dog, and it looks like there are things blocked off with tables and chairs and everything. You're like, that's kind of strange. And they're chasing, what's the dog's name? I'm blanking on the dog's name. The puppy. Oh my god, I'm garbage. I'm so sorry. Some anime fan I am. I keep on saying Kuromaru, and I'm like, nope.
It's not
absolutely wrong
Koromaru.
there. All right,
That
that's what
is
the
Persona.
internet is from. I'll come
Yeah.
back to that. But anyways, they're chasing this adorable dog for the first episode, and everything's so gross and cutesy wootsy. Then finally at the end,
It's really hard to get through.
It's really hard to get through. And then at the end, Yuki goes into a classroom to get her backpack, and she's talking to nobody. And the camera pans out, and suddenly the classroom goes from bright and happy to there's blood everywhere. The windows are blown out. There are you're not sure what it's supposed to be. You're like, hope that's not a dead body or something. And it turns out that they're trapped in the school. A virus has broken out, and there are zombies outside, and they're not cute looking zombies.
Yeah.
And you're like, and that's what really it's about. It's about this girl who's had a nervous breakdown and can't deal with the fact that she is in a world where everyone is gone and she and her friends are the only ones alive left in the school, and they have to find a way to get out. So it's like a zombie survival horror type thing, but with moe characters. But the idea of it being a journey about someone's psychological post-traumatic stress disorder is I thought was a really interesting take.
Yeah.
You notice how the intro on the first episode was all sweet, and
Right.
then as it
Happy.
progressed through, you're just like, and they started introducing more of the characters. It changed the intro a little bit, but then it was like the second one, you're just like, oh, well, there's all the zombies kind of.
Yeah, it gets
walking
more.
around.
It just gets darker and darker as it goes along.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting. We agreed that it sort of fell off the rails a little bit at the end. Like the pacing was a little off, but I
Yeah.
think overall it was a strong showing. So
Yeah, I really like School Live. You have to get through that first 20 minutes though,
you know,
which
it's a lot to ask people, but
it's a hard 20 minutes. I reviewed the first episode for IGN, and I was like, the whole time I was like, what am I watching? Because I had read the description, so I knew it was about zombies.
I
But
thought I was watching the wrong show at first.
yeah, I was
Right.
like, did they make a mistake? Like, so I stuck with it because I like zombie stuff. I was like, sure, I'll see where this is going. But the reveal of it being in her head, because I didn't know, like, is this going to be before the outbreak? It's not clear when you're first watching it, and that reveal is super strong. Like, I got chills. I watched it like another 2 times because I was showing it to different people. Like, watch this show.
oh my gosh, watching people react around the office was amazing.
Yeah, because we had a bunch of people watch it. We also have an OVA spoiler cast of School Live so that we did, where we just analyzed it. So
That
Taro
series,
Maru. Okay.
Taro
Taro
Maru.
Maru. I knew Maru was in there, but I was like, it's not Taro Maru.
Taro
It's
Maru is
Taro
the dog.
Maru.
Is Maru like a common dog suffix name?
No
If you know the
idea.
answer,
No
let us
idea.
know.
That is so cute.
Why do all dogs have Maru? Yeah, so that's School Live. And then the last one I want to talk about is Shirobako, which
The anime about anime.
the anime about making anime. So I have a Shirobako pen that I am sporting
Ooh.
because I really, really adore this show. I think it's done really well. It's hard for me to like super talk about it because there's a lot going on. It's about sort of 5 friends who are in an anime club, not like this one, but anime making club. Yeah, anime. A club where they work on anime together, and they are like, yeah, we're gonna get in the anime industry, and we're gonna all make this really great anime together. And then it kind of goes forward 2 years, and all of them are kind of
They're like in the industry, but it's like not what they expected.
yeah, and I really like that because it's very real. I kind of experienced that with the gaming industry, not in a negative way, but getting into the game industry is very different from what you might expect. The work is very different, and you can kind of see that reflected in each of the friends. Like the one who's a voice actress is really struggling to find work, and she goes to a sort of audition where they're just recording kind of like background noise, and they don't really like her, and she's struggling a lot. The artist is still finding her footing, and she doesn't know how to find her style. And there's this really nice scene where her not senpai, I guess she's her senpai, where like one of the more experienced animators is kind of talking to her. Like, everybody copies someone at first until they learn the motions, and then they develop their own style. And it's just this really beautiful conversation, like in this foresty or woodsy area. There's a lot of really sweet, really wonderful things in this show, very real relationships. And I want to talk about Taro, the worst. Taro's the worst. He's
Yeah.
he's
I'm only 2 episodes in it.
oh, okay. Well, you've met Taro.
Yeah.
He's the
He's assistant producer.
he's an assistant producer, and he's sort of a screw up, but it's hard to hate him because he's trying really hard, but he's super bad, and he screws things up for people.
He's very brash too. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's another one of those interactions that feels very real and very natural. And it feels like that would happen at a studio. Is like one of the assistant producers screws something up, and then you have to scramble and get the key animations done and the coloring done and dubbing done in a super crunch time. And they come together, and during the first cur, they're making Exodus. And they come together and kind of put out this product, and it's really beautiful to see. It's interesting you're only 2 episodes in because you do work in sort of anime.
Yeah, it's the biggest thing is just, I guess, time restrictions, but it's something I'm definitely watch all the way through. One reason why I really enjoy the show is I love how the sausages see how the sausage is made, and that process, and it gives me a more appreciation of anime and just that culture in general. So
Yeah, exactly. kind of made me realize how much goes into every single episode, because I didn't really think about that too much. It's easy to look at a show and criticize, like, oh, the animation really dropped in quality here, like what happened? And then watching Shirobako, I kind of get more sympathy for that, actually. Like, obviously it's still fair to critique something and say, the animation doesn't look good in this episode, like episode 4 of Gurren Lagann, which I'm still like, what happened? But it is really cool to see, like, there's something happened where they didn't get the storyboards done in time, or they didn't get the dubbing done in time, and they kind of had to pull it together. And it's remarkable that they could even put an episode out sometimes. And it really helped me understand, like, there's a lot that goes into every single episode of an anime that you really enjoy.
And you think about, like, the anime, like, weeklies that come out, where it's just like, how much churn there has to be to be able to get all that stuff out there, everything in sync. So I mean, it's that pulling the curtain back. It's the same with, like, game development, where it's like, people don't often think about all the things that can potentially go awry in a development process, and how, like, everyone really just needs to pull together to scramble to get everything where it needs to be. So I think that, I don't know, it's a cool little inclusion into that space.
I mean, it always makes me mad when people are like, oh, this developer was lazy, or the animators were lazy. It's like, that's not at all what is going on. So I think that Shirobako really makes that clear. Like, this is all the work that goes into making your favorite anime. So if there's a drop in quality or something happens, it's not because they're like, we don't care. It's more like something happened in the process.
Something happened, and they got it out anyway. So definitely watch Shirobako if you haven't, and you want to learn a little bit more about the anime making process. Of course, it is an anime, so it's not a documentary. It's not going to be, one-to-one true to how things are, but I think it does give a really cool, gives you insight into kind of what goes on. So definitely check that out if you like anime, which I hope you do. Yay, anime.
If not, why are you here?
I mean, maybe they want to broaden their horizons. Everyone is welcome in the anime club.
I'm just here to troll.
Just here to complain. No, we love you all. So let us know if you've seen Shirobako, if you're interested, or if you saw a documentary about making anime. That's the kind of stuff I want to know too. So tweet, email, Facebook.
That's right.
Yes. Thank you very much.
All of those amazing things. Anything else? Any other anime from 2015? Death Parade, or...
Ooh, I like Death Parade a lot.
Death Parade was really
good.
I love the whole concept of, like, the way that it opens. Like, the first episode immediately dragged me in, where you have this young couple. They step off an elevator, have no idea why they're in this bar or how they got there. And the bartender looks at them and is like, you guys can't leave this bar until you play a game where you stake your lives. You put your lives on the line. They're like, okay, you're a crazy person. We were just going to ask for directions. So they ran to the elevator. Elevator doesn't work. They look for an exit. There's no exit. They're like, what is happening? It's like, I can't tell you any details. All you need to know is that I'm going to put a button on the table. You're going to press a button. There's a machine that's going to select a random game. You're going to play that game for your lives. I can't tell you what happens to the loser, but you may not want to lose.
Yeah.
In every episode, that's a continuing theme about people who go to this bar, they play this game, and it turns out, I don't know if I want to spoil it for those who haven't seen it, but it's a year old now. So, but it turns out these people don't put their lives on the line because they're already dead.
Whoa!
They don't know that, however. So the whole idea is the bartender is actually an arbiter who decides whether they go and get reincarnated, or if they go down to the void. So it's not exactly heaven and hell, but the elevators that people step on, actually one will go up, one will go down, or both will go down, or both will go up, depending on the judgment given. So it's like an underworld judge that, it's like a Radamanthus or whatever the name of the Greek is.
It was nice how the series had a story that went through all of them, rather than something like, I thought it was going to start off kind of like Jikoku Shoujo or Hellgirl, where it's like every episode, same idea, same characters, but it's pretty compact. Yeah, and this one seemed to have like a really good story that went over everything.
It has a connecting thread. Like at first, like I thought it was Monster of the Week sort of format, where it's like every week we get to see a new sort of judgment call, but there is kind of an overarching.
Yeah, so you have the black-haired girl who's the arbiter's assistant, and she's sort of there to provide a different point of view, because it's actually about like, how do you judge somebody? Because it's not black and white. One's not necessarily good, one's not necessarily evil. I just watched an episode where the woman was abusing her kid, but she'd been abused all of her life. and she was just trying to provide for her kids, and it gets very deep. It's actually very emotional.
Yeah, that one.
You know, some of those
really
episodes
hard.
are really
Yeah.
intense,
Okay.
and it's all about just how do you properly judge someone? How do you send them to hell or send them to heaven?
Yeah. And this show reminded me a lot, this is going to get really specific, but of this Jean-Paul Sartre play called No Exit. It's a, I think, 1944 existentialist French play about people who've been sent to hell and they're matched up with other people, and basically hell is being trapped with other people. It's kind of where the phrase hell is other people comes from. And this Death Parade gave me those kinds of vibes, like, you know, what is afterlife, what is heaven and hell, what is judgment, because in No Exit it's about these three deceased people kind of judging each other based on what little they know about each other's lives. So I don't know, that was a really weird, nerdy, like,
No, I love that. I love that
Sure.
cultural
I'm very
reference.
interested.
reference, but it definitely reminded me of that. It is different, of course, but I don't know, that was pretty cool for me.
Yeah, I definitely thought that it was just different, and I really like that. So.
Yeah. And then I think if we're done with Death Parade, I think you wanted to talk about God Eater a little bit.
Oh yeah, no,
I don't want to leave you out.
I've been loving God Eater. Like God Eater's been amazing. Like so, I've had this kind of like judgment for a lot of CG anime where it's like, you know, I've look at it, I'm just like, oh, the frame rate for it, like they look kind of like jittery, and like it's kind of hard for me to feel immersed in it. But God Eater's been kind of one of the first ones that has been a, you know, televised series CG anime where I'm looking at it and I'm just like, this looks pretty close to like what I expect from like, you know, the facial expressions and the art style. Like, I mean, it's been really cool. And then the cool fight scenes that are in it as well. Like, I feel like everything's kind of come together in a really nice package that was really kind of, it was kind of surprising for me because like I stepped into it being like, okay, well, I'm, you know, working on God Eater. I should like, you know, learn about this series. And it's been a really like, you know, once I got started, I'm just like, oh, I can't stop. I need to keep watching it. So that series has been really great.
I love having that with a show, or I can't put it down, metaphorically speaking.
So with that, sorry, I kind of mentioned it before, but at least 2015 for me, anime-wise, was definitely catching up. Like a lot of watching a lot of Naruto, watching a lot of One Piece. But I did watch this one anime called Kids on the Slope.
I've heard great things about that.
Yeah, so if I can
I
only
thought
mention
it was
like,
about skiing. It's not about skiing.
yeah, if I can recommend one anime to watch, it's only 12 episodes. I believe it's the team that worked on Cowboy Bebop, and they all collaborated together again to work on this back in 2012. But it's just fantastic. It's just about a new kid coming into this high school, and he's a bit off, and he meets this guy, and they grow this real like friendship, and there's like kind of a love triangle going on. But which I'm like, that kind of stuff is whatever. But it just like, it really grabbed me, and rarely do I emit emotions, but but with that, there's one scene like on top of a hospital roof, and I had to pause it because it was so good. So I highly recommend it for anyone.
All right. Yeah, I think there's always time to be catching up on anime. I myself did a lot of catching up on anime. So if you haven't seen Kids on the Slope, sounds like a really strong recommendation.
All right, I'm writing that down.
Yeah. That's about all the time we have, unfortunately. We did skip the watch party this week. We'll be continuing next week with Gurren Lagann, I believe, in 19 and 20, episodes 19 and 20.
Yes.
So, yeah, thank you guys so much for coming out.
Yeah, thanks
No,
for
thank
having
you
us
guys,
again.
Showcasing everything. Let everybody know where to find you on Twitter and stuff.
I am at Pudgy Boy.
I actually don't use Twitter very much, but if you guys want to follow Bandai Namco Twitter, it's at Bandai Namco US.
That too, yes.
That's helpful. Megan?
I'm Megan, MEGHAN _IGN.
I'm Inky Dojiko, INKYDOJIKKO. Thank you for joining us for Anime Club episode 39. Thank you again for showing off some amazing stuff that we'll have on the site soon. And yay anime!
Yay, anime!
Anime.
Bye.